Please hold whilst we connect you to a redacted bonus clip.
This is Robert Thorpe.
This is Rhys Kaunda-McKenzie.
And you're listening to
Redacted.
The last 20 years have been a period of boring cars, some might say, bar some exceptions like the Toyota 86 and the MX-5 or the Cybertruck. Why do you think most car design has become homogeneous, and what could be done to fix the trend? Or are you on team conformity?
We're definitely not on team conformity.
Okay, good.
That is not cool. We're not talking for some of those car companies you're talking about there, but there may be a lot of processes behind what they're doing and a lot of voices on some of their designs, which are leading to some maybe compromised results. But I think in this day and age, a company that is creating space for adventurous design and obviously design that still works and hits all the hard points we need to meet to get the car on the road, but a company that's willing to take some risk and stand above the rest is going to succeed. You can't launch a brand with a Me Too design. You just can't do it because there's too many reasons why not. You've got to give a customer a reason why.
I reckon there's definitely value in having your bare bones Toyota Camry or something like that just for the regular market.
Customers as well sort of dictate that market a little bit. Particularly in America, you see the truck market. It's very hard, what we call conquest sales, where you're converting somebody from a previous truck like a F-150. It's very difficult to convert them over to another truck brand. And they tend to want the trucks to stay the same visually as well, because it brings them a level of comfort.
Reminds me of my youth.
Yeah.
I think it's a safety thing. If they go out and create this wild new design, maybe their existing base then goes, oh, I'm not really interested in that offering. And I think that's why we find that sometimes brands spin out their own sub-brands where they can go off and experiment a little bit more and do some of those wilder designs. And obviously, newer companies are looking for that stake in the market.
So what, there's going to be a Cybertruck for every year for the next 40 years?
Well, that's a difficult one.
There's going to be a round one. Like iPhone, it'll get sharp and then it'll get soft.
Just looking at Tesla's previous strategy, we talked about that development cycle being quite a bit faster these days, but Tesla, on the other hand, have taken obviously a very different approach to the way that they deal with that development cycle. And obviously that works for them and work for other brands as well. It's just a case of sometimes being agile. When you're new, you're trying to throw ideas out there and seeing what sticks with your customers or what converts people over, gets people excited about your product. You have to move a little bit faster because you have to go, okay, what's that next iteration on this product and how do I get it out to market? And I think that's where a studio like GoMotiv can offer a lot of value to those clients in that we can bring those fresh ideas to the table and help them with some maybe non-conventional, less boring ideas to get out there into the market.
And why do you think there is a team conformity?
It feels safe. I think everybody has a comfort meal that they tend to go to.
And it's a Prius.
Yeah.
It's probably a bit of a cost thing as well.
Yeah, not necessarily cost, because it's still going to cost you the same to actually develop a boring car as it is an interesting car. If you've got the constraints sorted out, it's kind of a choice, but it's a choice that maybe some brands don't realize they're making.
Or do they associate boring with safe, like a Prius or something?
Unfortunately, it's going to come down to a lot of, okay, we've got to hit these volumes, we need to hit this, and we need to be sure. So therefore, this worked last time for company X. So we're going to do something like that. They may not realize that they're doing that, but it's what's happening. And we're sort of seeing it on some of the graphics on the front end of some of the electric vehicles now. Okay, there's no grille. So there's no way of leveraging that grille to create a brand language. So you see, okay, 2 headlamps and a line between. And I'm like, hang on, okay, every car has got that.
Influence turns into imitation.
Why is no one thinking about, okay, you don't have a grille anymore. How do you create a graphic for a front end?
Just put more headlights in.
Yeah, well, yeah, without doing that. Redacted.
What would you say would be the best way that you've found that advertises or draws in the clients that you want to work with?
From our perspective, the best advertisement for our client is work that we've completed for similar clients. We've been very, very careful about what we've released and what we've shown. And there's even a lot of projects we've probably completed that not on our website. For new clients, they want to see that we've got capability to do what they need to do in their field. So if that's a full car, a production car, okay, we can show you that we've done that. If that's a show car, yes, we can show you that we've done that. But in terms of finding clients or clients reacting to what we're putting out there, we're still using a lot of our networks.
But that's your main sort of channels through the people you know?
At the moment, yeah. That's where we're at. As I said before, we're not a big name, all that sort of stuff. But I guess the results speak for themselves.
So when you say networks, it's all in-person, meeting at trade shows?
No, not so much that. Once people have found out what we are capable of, okay, oh, you did that car that was revealed there. That opens a lot of doors. It might be that, hey, we think there may be a car company that we've become aware of, and we think, oh, we might be a very good fit for them, knowing what we know about what they're doing and where they're at in their stage. So then we can approach them. And then having a track record that is credible gives us the ability to actually talk to those people.
So what, you just send them an email or ring them or knock on their door, demand an interview?
There's a little bit of that, yeah, knocking on doors and all that sort of stuff. In this whole scenario, it's not a fun place to go knocking on doors, but yeah.
So what, you're telling me that the old advice my parents gave me, just knock on their door and demand an interview, is not going to work?
No, I think you should continue doing that, yeah.
Why do I have a restraining order? What has been your challenges meeting and managing client expectations? You talked about a whole new process that's 4 times the speed of a traditional OEM. That's got to be stressful.
Yeah, it can be very stressful with clients. We've got to be very responsive to their requirements and their needs, but we also need to be aware of the process that we're running as well and make sure that we're not compromising our process or the process that's required to give them a good result. There is often a need to counsel, and communication is the key. Once an issue comes up or it looks like it's becoming an issue, making sure that you're on the phone, you're in person, you're on a video call, whatever else, and talking through what those issues may be and getting things sorted out is key to tempering expectations and making sure that things are traveling smoothly for everyone involved.
Because I imagine a lot of these clients aren't necessarily established with decades of experience under their belt. They're starting out as well.
Not necessarily. All of our clients that we're working with know that they need the expertise, and relationships build over time and trust builds over time as well. So the initial contact may be, okay, you've done this type of work, therefore we would like to engage with you, but there is always give and take too. I mentioned the chaos of the process earlier. So there's things that we can control, there's things that we can't control, there's things that the client can control, there's things that the client can't control. We've got to make sure that we're a good partner with those people. It's not black and white. There's not a linear path to an end point. It's a bit of a circular route to get there, and we're on the train together. There's a lot of give and take. That's the part that you can't build into a proposal. You can't build into a plan. There's things that are just going to come to you.
And I suppose that's where the experience comes in as well. Having that experience and knowing how to pivot and replan on the dime, basically, during a call.
All our staff have that level of experience. So what we find is, okay, there might be a roadblock that comes up, but I can guarantee you I've probably seen that before, or someone else has seen that before. So we know how to actually navigate around it with minimal damage to everyone involved. If you don't know or you haven't actually been through that before, then that can cause the problems down the track.
Touching again on the planning side of things, how do you often approach scoping out a new project with a client?
We'd normally sit down and work out, where is your gates? Where's your time frame? How do you see this project working? So we'd take all that in. Normally a client would give us a brief, which has got some of their objectives in there, not necessarily the how to do it. What we then do is build a project plan that works with that brief. So we work through timing. We may recommend gates that we want to put in there more often than not. We're also recommending, okay, we need inputs from engineering here, here, and here. The planning is key to the projects, and it's not coming from just one function. So we have our studio engineers, we have our creative designers, we have Rhys and the digital team all contributing the plan. What we want to make sure is we've got a plan that works for the client, works with their timing, and then goes from there. And sometimes recommendations, we need to move end dates or we need to move things around. But again, you present it with the background as to why that is the case, and everyone's on the same bus.
Taking a bit of a more macro sense, there are a lot of design teams worldwide, not just limited to Australia, that never really reach their potential. What do you see that you think is holding them back?
If a design team's not meeting its full potential, I think there's maybe a bit to do with communication with the client. If they're not getting opportunities to work with the clients that they would like to work with, potentially that may also come down to the way the clients are being approached. Understanding your own strengths, your own weaknesses, not over-promising what you may be able to deliver too much, and then understanding what their strengths and weaknesses are as well. If a design team is not meeting its full potential, there may be that some of that is missing, and that's foundational elements that you need to get in place. The second point is you move through a project, making sure that the client's on the journey with you, making sure that there's no surprises. Being a very good communicator up front can really help. As soon as you let an issue lie and fester, that's a problem. That turns into a big thing, and you don't want to wallpaper over anything because 2 months down the track, a month down the track, that'll come back and haunt you. You got to nip it in the bud and make sure that any problem is sorted out. I mean, there's probably a zillion reasons why a design team may not meet its full potential, but obviously communication's key, identifying problems early is key. And that's not just with letting your client know, but it's also internal to your team. You've got to be really clear and willing to have those heart-to-heart discussions amongst the team to resolve things so you can move forward.
Don't let that sleeping dog lie.
Exactly, yeah.
And with automotive in Australia being a niche skill set, how do you train and retain talent?
To train and retain talent in Australia, again, I think it's very difficult if there isn't a base of the skill set already here. GoMotiv, by working with global clients, we're trying to retain a skill set here and a team under one roof that can provide full vehicle. But retaining and training new talent, again, we want to make sure that a team like GoMotiv is here so we can actually nurture the next level of talent through.
So what, you're planning to be around for 100 plus years?
Of course. Yeah, exactly. We're going to be designing those sports cars, everything. So, yeah.
Rhys, a question for you. You often train some of these staff and they're working with you. Do you find yourself learning a lot from some of these new staff as you go, as you're providing your mentorship as well?
Obviously, being engaged at that university level as well allows you to see what that next generation is obviously bringing to the table. And we find that designers are very passionate people in general.
Because for reference, you don't just work in the studio, you also work at the university, correct?
Yeah, so I'm a sessional lecturer, so I work part-time at Monash University teaching 3D modeling, basically what we do in the studio, trying to pass on those skills even just at a university level. So that's part of our strategy is engagement with the universities. I think that was a very successful program that started long before I got on board. Like I said, that happened under the GM Holden originally, and that's continued as a tradition to pass on those skills to the next generation.
A key part of feeding back into the community and keeping the skills in the country.
Yeah. I think it exposes them to something potentially they might not otherwise necessarily see and opens up opportunities, not just in Australia, but also overseas for them to go off and develop their talents elsewhere.
Would you say that's definitely something that other design businesses should be looking into?
From my perspective, where I came from is obviously as an intern, I felt that experience was immensely valuable. I understand that there are limitations to what a lot of small consultancies can take on. I think the way we go about trying to retain that staff and train them up, you do have to have a healthy dose of patience with people and understand that their learning journey may not be at the speed that you expect. I always feel I can get somebody who's passionate enough about the subject to the level they need to be, but they may not work at the same pace and they may not learn at the same pace as maybe some of the other cohorts in that system. So you got to make sure that you keep encouraging them, provide them with an environment that allows them to grow and surround them with mentors who can also provide that support. Obviously, in a professional environment, people have work to do and things to do. So it's something you do need to engage your team with at a team level and get them comfortable with that idea and not necessarily force anybody into that mentorship role. But also encourage it from that level of, hey, look, these guys are just learning, give them a shot and let them develop that skill set. And I think generally we find the way we hire people is we're hiring people who support that narrative. They can put their work aside for a little bit to help somebody grow and develop into that skill set. I think sometimes people can be a little protective over their skill sets and not want to engage at that level.
So would you say at GoMotiv you have a key principle of not just being great designers, but great teachers?
I think it just comes down to if somebody comes and asks you a question, just being open to spending 5-10 minutes out of your day to help them with that question and not expecting anything more than what is necessary.
Making sure that those staff who are learning, make sure that they know that it's okay to be learning. You don't have to be at the level of black belt right tomorrow, right? Here we are. It's all fine. We're all good.
We're always constantly learning, even myself. I never stop asking questions, and I expect everybody who's working with me also not become introverted in terms of the way that they approach that learning process. They can be introverted people. They can maybe not want to engage at that social level, but in terms of learning, I want everybody to be comfortable going and asking questions regardless of the years of experience they have under their belt.
And making sure that everyone's got the attitude of you can learn from anyone, no matter what role they're doing or what level they're at. You might be a senior person, you're learning from your junior staff. That's key. Otherwise, you get stuck in the way you're doing things.
Thanks for listening to this redacted bonus clip. We hope you enjoyed it, and if you want to check out the full thing, there's a link in the show notes. To follow the show, get in contact with us via email and more, head to linktr.ee/redactedpod. And until next time, thanks again for listening.
The number you have dialed has not been recognized. Please check and try again. The number you have dialed has been
Redacted.